vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Patricia, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from April issues of the Batavia Daily News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Starting with the Batavia Daily News for Friday, April 17th. In local news, new courthouse opens in Batavia by Mark Gutman and Matt Sertel. New facility, big improvements. When the former Tomaszewski Funeral and Cremation Chapel became available for sale, the town of Batavia saw an opportunity. What developed is a new town court building capable of meeting all the town's needs at 4120 West Main Street Road. We didn't have as good a facility at the other place as we needed for the caseload we had, so the town board recognized that and allocated some money to make things right, said Town Justice Andrew Young during a Thursday evening open house. I think it's awesome here, he continued. It's way better place to be working from a security perspective and from a process and flow perspective. It's been a godsend in terms of the caseload we have. We've been taking care of it a lot easier. The town court was previously located in the same building as the town's offices near County Building Number 2 on 3833 West Main Street Road. But the town was seeing a high volume of cases for the space available. That can include everything from shoplifting cases at Veterans Memorial Drive to drunk and drugged driving cases to serious felonies such as assaults and worse. We have a bigger security staff, we have more access to viewing those cameras, and there are secure facilities for inmates from Genesee County Jail, added Town Justice Lisa Funke. I think that's probably the biggest change that we have. The court was previously sharing its space with the town board and planning board, meaning they'd reconfigure it for their own needs as they arrived. The town approved using $704,510.70 in American Rescue Plan Act money for the project in March 2024. Now we have our own facility, Young said. It's isolated and there is just for us. There's much more room for support staff, Funke added. There's also space to meet with attorneys, Young said, and even improved flow of people through the building makes the justices' work and the proceedings easier and the process quicker. We needed it. It got done in good, timely manner, Young said. We're happy to be in a better place. The former funeral home was closed after former funeral home director Michael Tomaszewski was convicted in December 2021 of a massive fraud. He pleaded guilty and served slightly less than 2 years in prison before being released on parole. Continuing with local news for Friday, April 17th in the Batavia Daily News. New fee to begin at City Yard Waste Station. A new fee involving commercial landscaping activities will begin May 1st at the City Yard Waste Station. The fee will cover disposal of yard waste generated through commercial landscaping activities, city officials said in a news release. This change is necessary to offset rising operational, transportation, and processing costs associated with the handling and removing of yard waste materials, the officials said. Businesses will be required to register with the City of Batavia before any commercial yard waste disposal is accepted. Call Scott Allen at 585-345-6400, option 1. Details include residential yard waste generated and transported by homeowners will continue to be free. The new fee structure will apply to all commercial entities, including landscapers, tree service companies, and other contractors disposing of yard waste. Charges will be assessed based on the type and size of truck transporting yard waste, including gravel trucks, $350, dump trucks, $200, dump trailers, $150, pickup trucks, $100. All deliveries must continue to comply with current guidelines regarding acceptable materials. Acceptable materials include brush, grass, grindings, leaves, wood chips, and bulk wood less than 24 inches in diameter. Unacceptable materials include garbage, plastic, soil, rocks, and bulk wood greater than 24 inches in diameter. Continuing with the April 17th issue of the Batavia Daily News in the opinion section, Town of Alabama Follows the Law on Data Centers Project by Robert Croson, Town of Alabama Supervisor. From the beginning of the proposed project in Alabama, it was important for the town's decision makers to see operating data center facilities firsthand. With a project of this size, it would not be a proper complete review if we did not take the time to understand how these facilities actually operate. March 26th and 27th, members of the Town Board and Planning Board visited 3 data center facilities in Texas. 2 were in the Dallas area and 1 was in San Antonio. The purpose of the visits was to better understand how facilities of this scale operate and fit within surrounding communities as part of our ongoing review of the proposed project at STAMP. The facilities were selected by our town engineer for several reasons. Because they were relatively close in proximity to each other, they were in various stages of development from being under construction to recently open to fully operational. And they were also as closely related to the design of the proposed data center at STAMP. During the visits, we met with stream representatives for informational purposes only, including company leadership, project development staff, and on-site personnel. Also participating in the visits were 2 leaders from the town's fire department, along with the town attorney, town engineer, and a representative from county planning. It was important to see how these facilities operate in the real world. Observations included building scale, layout, and general operations. We also visited nearby neighborhoods in close proximity to the facilities to better understand how they were situated in relation to surrounding residential areas. The trip was strictly informational. No decisions were made and no conclusions were reached. There has been a lot of public interest in this project, which we understand. The town will continue to carefully and thoughtfully review materials submitted by the applicant, independent consultant review, public meetings, and information gathered at the public hearing. To keep that process fair, decisions have to be based on the formal record developed during the review, consistent with applicable law and state guidance. That requires those involved in the review to remain impartial and avoid forming or expressing conclusions outside the formal review process. For that reason, there will not be individual opinions or conclusions offered outside of public meetings. The town will continue to follow the law and complete a careful, thorough, and deliberate review based on the full record developed through the review process. The compilation of that record includes detailed review by the town's engineer and consultants, input from public meetings and a public hearing, and input from involved agencies. Any final decisions will be based on that full record. Robert Croson, Town of Alabama Supervisor. Continuing with the April 17th issue of the Batavia Daily News, from the front page. Oxbow President looks to the past as he celebrates company milestone by Mike Pentinella. As he celebrated Thursday morning's grand opening of Oxbow International's new 200,000 square foot specialty harvesting manufacturing facility at the Apple Tree Acres Business Park in Bergen, High Value Crop Division President Joe Perzia acknowledged the visionaries who built the foundation we are standing on today. Perzia, the 5th of 6 speakers during a 30-minute ceremony in front of employees, customers, Genesee County leaders, and guests, said that the company's $50 million investment into the state-of-the-art structure and equipment represents growth, innovation, and a very bright future. As a 30-plus year employee, I know it's hard to believe I look that old, but I can't help but feel a powerful mix of pride and sometimes something a little more complicated, he said. Survivor's remorse. Let me explain. I'm fortunate to still be here at a moment when these doors were opening, doors that weren't open for so many of the people who have since retired. People who built the foundation we are standing on today but never got to experience this exciting new chapter. He then went on to recognize the pioneers who started what was known as Byron Equipment Company, who were in attendance. Dick Glazier, the founder and original chairman of the board, and Paul Dow, engineer, who he called our creative genius, relentless innovator, and problem solver. Perzia also mentioned Andy Talbot, who led the sales and marketing group, Greg Stitch, president and chief executive officer for nearly 30 years, Tommy Nesbitt, Jim Glazier, and Don Britt. Talking about Oxbow's much smaller former facility on Byron Road in Byron, Perzia said workers made the most of small, disjointed spaces, mostly indoors, and rather modest business setting, to say the least. He reminds me that progress doesn't start with the person at the podium today, but with the people who kept showing up day after day, working hard to build a great company to serve our customers and our employees, he said. So while I'm proud to have the privilege to be leading us into this next chapter, I also carry a deep respect, a deep responsibility to honor the work that made this possible. Perzia said he was grateful to Oxbow's former employees at a plant in Clear Lake, Wisconsin, which has shut down when the corporation decided to remain in Genesee County. We understood from the beginning of this new factory project that it was a choice to locate our project or factory either near Clear Lake, Wisconsin, or Byron, New York. In the end, it was because it was all about retaining as many of our exceptionally dedicated and talented people as possible. That was the criteria. He went on to note that many of the Wisconsin employees have found work after their facility was repurposed, and that Oxbow has retained its engineering center and service operations there. Turning his attention to the employees, he said, our obligation is to make sure this facility does not just symbolize what we've achieved in the past, but what we'll achieve together in the future. To honor everyone who pushed us this far and provided this important opportunity and privilege, we owe it to them to do more than feel fortunate. We owe it to them to make this place exceptional. This factory stands not as a trophy, but a symbol of progress. It reflects our confidence in the future, our dedication to innovation, and a commitment to doing things the right way. Every wall, every machine, every process inside this building have been designed to help us serve our customers better and create opportunities for our people. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Batavia Daily News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Turning to the Batavia Daily News for Saturday, April 18th, from the front page. Voicing frustrations, residents and board members speak at Leroy Village Budget Meeting by Samuel Zerillo. The village's growth or lack thereof were among the issues raised Wednesday during the annual budget meeting. Village property tax rates are set to rise 10% this year in Leroy as the village retreats from last year's tax rate cut. It's a painful number for residents and board members alike. I understand good financial situations, said resident Patrick Kennedy during the hearing. But some of the comments about Leroy growing, Leroy is not growing. Leroy actually has kind of been stagnant for years. We're paying Penfield level school taxes, he continued. I mean this. You look at Penfield's tax level for school, that's the same as Leroy's. We're not getting Penfield level school. You're going to do what you're going to do, and I'm going to pay my taxes, he said, but somehow something's got to change. I'd love to see Leroy grow and flourish, and I'd love to see more business in town. Obviously, if it was growing, the tax base would grow with that, and maybe people living here wouldn't have to bear so much burden with that. Mayor Greg Rogers responded to concerns about growth rates and tax increases by noting the tax burden and in rising inflation and the ever-increasing costs of maintaining a village police force. From this standpoint, we try to control the controllables here, Rogers said. Part of this budget reflects police officers. They're expensive now. They're expensive to have a police force. Rogers said the board is looking into cost-saving measures, including replacing full-time police officer vacancies with part-timers. He estimated the move would save about $120,000. However, even with these cuts to the police staffing and hours, the overall police budget includes a $76,795 increase. The village's current contract with the police department is set to expire on May 31st, the same as the current village budget. The proposed police budget increase, Rogers said, is a reflection of ongoing negotiations between the village board, the police department, and the police officers union. We are currently in negotiations, he said. These are things we think we need to do, and from a budgetary standpoint that all could. Who knows what happens when we get in negotiations. Leroy Police Chief Greg Kellogg explained the reason for the proposed increase in the police budget, discussing that the union representing the officers, Council 82 New York State Law Enforcement Officers Union, is asking for part-time employees' hourly rates to increase from around $26 to the full-time rate, which is more the $30 range, along with overtime increases. Overtime is anticipated to be a little bit higher, Kellogg said. Obviously, the rate's going to be higher, potentially salaries, so really it could be much lower than that. But we didn't want to be in a place where we under-budgeted and we're over. As for the concerns about the overall growth rate of the village, Rogers said the board is working to bring more development to the area, though not confident in it being fully realized. We are trying to bring in residential development, he said. There's some hope on the horizon, maybe out on West Main Street, but can't really hang my hat on that. Another resident noted the proposed property tax increase, describing problems she and her son have experienced involving local construction wreaking havoc on her home. The village is declining and shows lack of leadership and accountability, she said. Leroy is starting to feel dead and uninviting. I would love to love Leroy again. What is being done about this property? Who's enforcing it? Why is it taking so long to come to a resolution? Rogers pointed down the road at the Leroy Town Hall. I'm not passing the buck here, but this board is sort of in the same circumstances you are, okay? Rogers said. The town government runs code enforcement. I'm just as hand-tied as you, but I go down to the supervisor, I talk to him, I talk to code of enforcements, and you see how much I'm getting out of it. Trustee Jim Bonaquisti promised that future discussions with the town board about code enforcement will be much more aggressive. Next month, we are planning on having a meeting with the town, and we are going to address code enforcement, Bonaquisti said. We are going to do whatever we can do between that board, and our attorneys, because we're going to get a lot more aggressive, because, like you, I'm tired of looking at it. Despite the ongoing code enforcement problems between the town and the village, Rogers wanted to emphasize that he values the relationship between the two governing bodies. We get along exceptionally well, he said, just like brothers who fight every once in a while. But I mean, the work we get done together is very good, and there's a great working relationship. I think the world of their board, he continued. I'm sure they have the same respect for my board. On occasion, certain things come in, but our departments work very well together. Along with the budget concerns, The two recently elected village trustees, Daniel Vanderhoof and incumbent William Kettle, were sworn into the office during this village meeting. Under the village's $4.69 million tentative budget, the property tax rate will rise from $7.99 per $1,000 in assessed value to $8.79 per $1,000. Last year's rate represented a decline from the previous rate of $10.70 per $1,000, which the village had maintained since 2018. To compensate for a roughly 39.49% increase in total assessments. This year, though, total assessments decreased slightly, while the village's non-tax revenues declined $320,902, or 15.93% from last year. The steepest declines came from the end of the $200,000 in one-time road repair grants from the Department of Transportation, and a $70,342 decrease in state annual improvement funding after the village used more than anticipated last year. The village also expects to receive $62,000 less than last year in sales tax distributions from Genesee County and $20,000 less in cable television franchise payments from Spectrum. Turning to local news from the April 18th Batavia Daily News, Hendershot retires as the Attica Police Chief. It was impossible to miss the tears that came to Chief Dean Hendershot's eyes as he made his way out of the Attica Village Hall Friday afternoon. Dozens of village employees, Attica officers, and first responders from across Wyoming County flanked the doors, greeting Hendershot with a handshake or a hug as he made his final exit into the arms of his family. Friday's walkout marked an emotional end to a career that spanned 36 years and to 12 years as chief. As Attica native, Hendershot joined the department as a part-time patrol officer in March 1990, securing a full-time appointment that November. He spent 24 years with the department before his selection as chief. At the time, village leaders valued his record of honorable, community-minded service, said Mayor Nate Montford, who was a trustee on the village board at the time. I was 10 years old when he started, so I grew up in his community. I've known him essentially all my life. He's known my family, Montford said. We are lucky to have him. Hendershot's time as police chief began in dramatic fashion. Within a month of his February 2014 installment as acting chief, Attica police faced an armed standoff with a man reporting he had explosives in his room at the Attican Motel, followed by a domestic dispute that escalated to a stabbing in the produce aisle of the Tops supermarket, and then the raid of methamphetamine lab in the village. That first month as chief remains the most memorable, Hendershot said on Friday. He became the village's permanent chief of police in 2016, and since then, he said, time has flown. I can't believe it's been 36 years. I really can't, Hendershot said. My mind is telling me I'm still young, but my body is telling me, no, you're old. Hendershot leaves the department's leadership to officer in charge, Holly Royce. His parting words, community policing is the bottom line, and respect others. They're going to respect you. Turning to the Batavia Daily News for Tuesday, April 21st. From the front page, City of Batavia awarded $10 million in DRI funds. And a note to listeners, I'll be reading an abbreviated version of this article. If you would like the whole version of the article, call 716-821-5555 and radio reading staff will read the entire article to you. So again, City of Batavia awarded $10 million in DRI funds by Matt Sertel. The City of Batavia will get another injection of development funds with the awarding of $10 million in State Downtown Revitalization Initiative funding. New York State officials confirmed the award Monday morning. The DRI and New York Forward programs have already been transformative across New York State in creating new housing and bringing our communities together, said Governor Kathy Hochul in a statement. The Finger Lakes is a unique region filled with rich culture and history, and I look forward to investing in these communities that have so much to offer to our great state and watching them thrive. The Downtown Revitalization Initiative was established in 2016 as a way to spur investment and development in New York's smaller and rural downtowns. Awards of up to $10 million in matching funds help support projects in eligible communities. The city of Batavia previously received a $10 million award in 2018. A partnership including the city and the Batavia Development Corporation applied for New York's latest round of DRI funding this past October, identifying 13 eligible projects. The 13 identified public and private projects have an estimated cost of $73.5 million and possible DRI funding requests of $22.6 million, representing between 8 to 100% of the project costs. A final decision remains on which project will ultimately be selected. The 13 projects include create a waterfront neighborhood, and a description of that project is develop market rate housing along the Tonawanda Creek. The next project, improve waterfront amenities. Description, construct public improvements, including a linear park and parking lot upgrades. Next project, develop a recreation anchor. Description, create a multi-use sports complex. Next project, repurpose the county jail. Description, redevelop the former jail for a mixed-use facility. Next project, activate the public market. Description, develop a 3-season public market, including a permanent pavilion. Next project, enhance the Ellicott Trail corridor. Description, provide a safer route through downtown, enhanced with arts and streetscape upgrades. Next project, revive 215 East Main Street. In the description, redevelop the former Continental Beauty Building into a mixed-use building. Next project, revitalize 214 to 216 East Main Street. And the description, redevelop the former Montgomery Ward building into a mixed-use building. Next project, establish a building improvement fund. Description, establish a grant fund to assist multiple property owners with building improvements. Next project, improve the Ellicott Street corridor. Description, provide streetscape, traffic calming, and safety improvements along Ellicott Street. Next project, restore the Brisbane. And the description, convert the former Mason/City Hall/police station into market rate apartments and suites. Next project, cultivate the Wired Plow building. Description, redevelop the property for market rate apartments. And the last project, anchor Ellicott Street. Description, construct a new 3-story mixed-use building. Continuing with the front page of the Tuesday, April 21st Batavia Daily News. Former YMCA demolition begins next Monday by Saul Hauser. Fences are going up and the former YMCA building is coming down, starting in less than a week. Wrecking crews from Buffalo-based Empire Building Diagnostics are set to begin demolishing the building next Monday, April 27th, in a process that's expected to last until June 1st. The 1977 building, located at 209 East Street, served as a regional hub for everyone from runners to swimmers to kids celebrating birthdays for 47 years, before it was replaced in January 2025 by the $33.5 million, 78,000 square foot healthy living campus next door. Once the building is demolished, the northern side of the lot will be paved to create roughly 28 parking spaces, while the south portion nearest Main Street will be converted to a green space. It's not clear when the site will be finished. Glow YMCA CEO Eric Fix said Monday. Demolition was scheduled for completion in December, and the site work was set to take place this spring. The subsequent delays in demolition mean that the subcontractor for site work may be unavailable by the time the building is demolished. Part of the issue is that we're anticipating being done sooner than this originally, and so we had a lot of the site work folks lined up for it to start now, Fix said by phone. With the delays, we've had to reassign them, and we're not 100% sure that we have a schedule for that yet. In the meantime, Fix asks that patrons avoid the new facility's Bank Street entrance during demolition, using the Washington Avenue and Wired Street entrances instead, if possible. The 1977 building was the YMCA's sixth home since its Batavia chapter was founded in 1889, according to the organization's official history. The YMCA initially leased space in the Times building on Jackson Street, before moving a year later to the newly built Farmers Bank building at the corner of Jackson and Main Streets. When its lease expired in 1897, the YMCA moved to the Alva Smith House on Park Place, which it purchased in 1900 with the help of Byron Huntley, president of the Johnston Harvester Company. By 1911, the YMCA had outgrown that building, and it purchased the home of Dr. John Lasser at 209 East Main Street at a cost of $10,000. 2 years later, the organization's new building was complete. Portions of that 1913 building, including a 1957 gymnasium and recreation rooms, remain in the 1977 building. Fix said that while he's sentimental about the 1977 building, the new Healthy Living campus is a major improvement, with YMCA membership nearly tripling from 900 to nearly 2,600 since the building opened last January. Area residents seem to agree. I grew up in that old building, Fix said. I lived down the street, and I started going to that building when it first opened. So it means a lot to me, but it was definitely past its time. With the new building, our membership has nearly tripled, and we're serving more people because of it, which is what we try to do every day. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Batavia Daily News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Turning to the Batavia Daily News for Wednesday, April 22nd, from the front page. Rapone charged with forcible touching and harassment by Matt Sertel. Longtime Notre Dame High School athletic director Mike Rapone has been charged with forcible touching in connection with an alleged incident last month at Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel. Genesee County Sheriff's deputies were alerted March 20th about a complaint at the venue. Rapone, 72, of Batavia, is accused of touching the intimate parts of another person for no legitimate purpose, deputies said. He also allegedly made unwanted physical contact, causing the person to become alarmed, deputies said. The incident occurred about 5:02 p.m. March 2nd, according to the criminal complaint. It allegedly involved a female employee. Rapone is accused of intentionally placing his left hand on the victim's upper left buttocks and striking them twice with his left hip in order to gratify his sexual desire, according to the complaint. The complaint also cites a signed supporting deposition by the victim and another person, along with a note from Rapone to the victim and surveillance video from Batavia Downs Casino. Besides the forcible touching charge, Rapone has been charged with second-degree harassment. He is to appear May 5th in town court. The Daily News confirmed prior to March 20th that Rapone had resigned from his job as a floor attendant at Batavia Downs Gaming, where he worked part-time for more than 15 years. Mike DeGeorge, Batavia Downs Gaming Director of Communications, said at the time that the corporation doesn't comment on personnel matters. Rapone was placed on administrative leave March 17th at Notre Dame High School with an announcement emailed to parents. Rapone, a 1971 Notre Dame graduate, has had a 44-year career at the school, serving as athletic director, assistant principal, interim principal, and varsity boys basketball coach. He holds the Section 5 record for victories at 728 and has been inducted into 3 halls of fame: Notre Dame, Section 5, and New York State. Officials at Notre Dame High School did not immediately return a call seeking confirmation of Rapone's current status with the school. Turning to the local news section of the April 26th Batavia Daily News. Program helps fix lead paint issues. A program allowing GLOW region residents to find and fix lead paint dangers in their homes will continue. The Federal Lead Hazard Control and Health Homes grant has been renewed for 3 more years, Go Health officials said in a news release. The funding will help people living in Genesee, Livingston, Orleans, and Wyoming GLOW counties. The grant pays for fixing lead hazards and some other home health improvements in homes and apartments. Eligibility requirements include tenants or homeowners must meet income eligibility guidelines, although limited funds may be available for vacant units. The home must have been built before 1978. A child less than 6 years old resides in the home or visits 8 or more hours weekly, or a pregnant person resides in the home. Lead-based paint hazards must be present. Property taxes and mortgage payments must be current. Additional requirements may apply on a case-by-case basis. Rental property owners, a 10% match of total project costs is required. Eligible properties include single-family homes and multi-unit properties with up to 4 units. Owners must maintain ownership of the property for at least 5 years after project completion. Examples of eligible work: interior and exterior painting, window replacement, entry door replacement, porch repair or replacement, soil treatment and landscaping, other general repairs to improve health and safety. All work is performed by pre-approved local contractors who are trained and EPA certified in lead-safe work practices. Contractors interested in participating are encouraged to contact the Genesee County Health Department or apply through the Go Health website. For more information, assistance with eligibility, or to be added to the contractor list, contact Genesee County Health Department at 585-344-2580, extension 5555. And back to the front page of the April 22nd Batavia Daily News. Alabama Rings in 200 Years by Saul Hauser. For years, the bell from the Old South Alabama schoolhouse sat in a basement in Oakfield, collecting dust and rust and ill-advised coats of paint. On Saturday, though, the freshly restored bell clanged loud and clear in the Alabama Fire Hall, officially ringing in the bicentennial of the town of Alabama. Alabama, originally known as Garysville or Jerrysville, for Elbridge Gerry, the vice president under James Madison, who is best known for the practice of gerrymandering, was founded in April 17, 1826, carved from portions of the towns of Pembroke and Shelby. 200 years and a day later, the Jerrysville Town Board was back in session, with residents reenacting the first town board meeting, appointing officers and allocating funds, $25 to highways and $50 to schools. The mock meeting was followed with proclamations honoring the town's bicentennial from Assemblyman Steve Hawley, State Senator George Borrello, Genesee County Legislature's second vice chair Greg Torrey, and representatives for the offices of Governor Kathy Hochul and Representative Claudia Tenney. With business done, Saturday's crowd of more than 100 residents moved on to festivities, beginning with a performance of Seneca language hymns by the town member Seneca, the 10-member Seneca singers. Among the singers was David Jonathan, who spent his youth singing at church across the region. More than anywhere else, Jonathan said, he and his siblings grew up in South Alabama Baptist Church, just around the corner from the fire hall. My mom was a piano player and my dad was a musician, Jonathan said. They figured out all of the kids had a natural musical talent, and we just started singing around the piano. People started calling us up and saying, "Can you come sing at my church?" Just going everywhere. Today, the Seneca singers can still be found singing Seneca hymns in area churches around most Sundays mornings. Every Sunday service, we usually do one or two of these songs just to keep them, Jonathan said. The culture is still there, but we don't want to lose it. Saturday's festivities were led by Alabama town historian Dawn Fisher, who was decked out in her own piece of history, a periwinkle prairie dress and quilted apron her mother sewed for her sister to wear at the town's sesquicentennial in 1976. One piece of history that took a little more digging to find, a time capsule from the town's 175th anniversary in 2001. The time capsule was more elusive than expected. Fisher and her committee couldn't find any record of where it was buried, and planning board member Terry Thompson, who recalled the capsule's dedication, said he was away on his farm on the day the capsule was to be buried. Committee member Gabe Foster even offered to comb the grounds with a metal detector. A few weeks before the bicentennial, committee member Joe Cassidy decided to take a look through the basement of the town hall. After pawing through stacks of boxes, he found it, a laundry basket filled with memorabilia and draped with an altar cloth, and a note reading, "To be sealed on Sunday, July 15th. "We're not sure what happened or how it got there," Fisher said. "Maybe they forgot about it. Maybe they were cleaning. We don't know why." But the capsule was clean and dry, and on Saturday, Fisher unveiled its contents. The altar cloth sewn by Ruth E. for a 175th anniversary church service, a commemorative sweatshirt and hat, Polaroid photos of prominent Alabamians, a copy of the Daily News, and a binder filled with clippings and information, among other things. More bicentennial events remain, beginning with a May 2nd social at the Oakfield, Alabama Baptist Church, which will showcase its history and changes to the church building. The Iroquois National Wildlife Refuge will also host a spring spectacular on May 9th, and the Alabama Hunt Club will celebrate its 80th anniversary from May 13th to the 17th. For Fisher, the involvement of so many community organizations is the ideal way to celebrate the town's milestone. It's a great way to commemorate the town's history, and it's how we've celebrated in the past. That's what I wanted to bring back. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Batavia Daily News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Turning to the April 23rd issue of the Batavia Daily News from the front page. Earth Day. Volunteers lend a helping hand at The Ant by Mark Goodman and Matt Sertel. Letchworth State Park. Rakes, gloves, soap, and water. The Autism Nature Trail at Letchworth State Park is much celebrated for its unique and innovative approach to the outside. As the park gears up for its spring and summer influx of visitors, a sizable crew of area residents spent Wednesday morning washing, scrubbing, and raking at the trail and its stations. After all, what better way to celebrate Earth Day? We try to get volunteers on Earth Day every year, but this year is spectacular, said Lauren Penman, the trail's co-founder. We have 24 people here, a large group from the Perry Rotary and a smaller group of women and their significant others from Batavia who meet sporadically to do good for the community. The Ant, as the trail is widely known, opened to the public in 2021. It's designed to support and encourage sensory perception while also providing activities for visitors of all abilities and ages. The Ant is organized as a loop featuring 8 stations, offering a range of experiences from quiet engagement to active exploration and adventure. The stations have such names as the Sensory Station, Sunshine Slope, Music Circle, Reflection Knoll, Metal Run and Climb, Design Zone, Playful Path, and the Celebration Station. The Ant is popular and much used, and its supporters like to keep it spick and span. They knew this was a need, Penman said. Everybody is just here with goodwill, and everybody brought their own tools. It's going to be a wonderful start to the new season at the Autism Nature Trail. Participants washed the trail's stonework and plaques with soap and water and sponges. We really have very little damage and vandalism and trash, Penman said. People treat the trail very respectfully, but we're in the middle of a forest and there are pine cones that need to be picked up and there are weeds to be pulled. There's debris to be swept, plaques to be cleaned, and benches to be polished, she continued. These people are doing it all today. Weather conditions had been worrisome in the days leading up to Earth Day, Penman said. Rain, cold, and scattered snow flurries aren't the best way to attract volunteers for a cleanup. But the weather had cleared beautifully by 9 a.m. when the cleanup began. Today we couldn't ask for a better day, just beautiful, Penman said. Thank you to the people who gave their time to this project. Without volunteers, the Autism Nature Trail would not exist. The trail has garnered significant national attention, including being featured in an episode of Samantha Brown's PBS series, Samantha Brown's Places to Love, and a segment about unique places to visit in the fall on NBC's Today's Show. The trail has also been featured in Forbes, National Geographic Online, Lonely Planet, and Apple News. And for more information on the Ant, go to this website, and this is all one word, autismnaturetrail.com. Continuing with the front page of the April 23rd Batavia Daily News. Montclair Avenue residents decry proposed Sunoco station by Saul Hauser. Neighbors of a proposed gas station and convenience store on West Main Street spoke out against the proposal Tuesday at a meeting of the City Planning and Development Committee. Speakers at Thursday's meeting raised concerns about traffic, gas fumes, and property value impacts from the proposed 6-pump Sunoco station at 244 to 248 West Main Street, at the corner of Montclair Avenue, which is the vacant site of the former Time Buyer used car dealership. To build the gas station, owner Cham Patel of Batavia is seeking exemptions from minimum building setback and parking rules due to the size of the property and the location and size of the existing building. He will also need variances from rules setting out a minimum 500-foot distance from a church or place of public assembly due to Discovery Chapel, 480 feet away, and Burger King, 290 feet away, and a minimum 1,000-foot distance from another gas station on the same side of the street, with Speedway 767 feet away. Those variances and the lack of a traffic study raised eyebrows earlier this month among members of the Genesee County Planning Board, which voted on April 9th to recommend that the city reject the site plan. Patel's engineers have since commissioned a traffic study, which was filed with the city on Tuesday, just before the meeting. Engineer Andrew Tergalagni said the study, which the Daily News has not yet reviewed, shows that traffic in the immediate vicinity of the gas station would increase by 4.7%. Residents voiced opposition, but residents at Tuesday's meeting said traffic from customers and fuel tankers, as well as existing traffic on Montclair Avenue, would create a danger. Cassandra Bowen of 18 Montclair Avenue said she already worries about traffic while her children wait for the school bus, and that she expects the gas station would add to the problem. I've been here 16 years and our street has been terrible. And just recently it's starting to get better and we're getting new families in and my kids can go outside, she said. But the traffic has gotten out of control as it is. My kids bus stop in the morning at my house to pick up my kids, and half the time the bus can't even get to my driveway because there are cars parked on the other side, so they pull back. My kids have to walk down the sidewalk to get on the bus. That's a little ridiculous. And then we have cars pass the bus. No one is fixing that problem. While the gas station's design only allows entry from West Main Street and right turns onto Montclair Avenue, back towards West Main Street, Wendy Spear of 19 Montclair Avenue says she doesn't expect drivers will follow the restrictions. Montclair is narrow, very narrow, said Wendy Spear, who lives at 19 Montclair Avenue. You can say you can only make a right turn. You can't enforce it. You can say there's only a 5-ton limit. You can't enforce it. You can't pull off of La Crosse with a big semi, especially when there's snow. Those people already have variances so they can park there. So you put snow and you put cars, and then you try to put a truck. Spears said she also worries about the potential for noxious fumes and runoff from spills, a concern that was echoed by Charlie Boyd of 16 Montclair Avenue. It will very likely affect anybody with sensitive respiratory systems. There will likely be other effects on old people, Boyd said. I have yet to hear how it's benefiting anyone, except perhaps the owner and perhaps some people working part-time jobs, but I think it's not going to help the neighborhood. Boyd said he also worried about the gas station's effect on property values. I'm a 36-year resident of Montclair, and I have been there through thick and thin, and we did have some bad drug houses on the street. It was terrible, he said. At this point, it's a neighborhood. It really is, and businesses coming into the neighborhood should, from the standpoint of what a city is supposed to be, build on that neighborhood. Unfortunately, the statistics I find tend to show housing values decline up to 600 to 1,000 feet away from gas stations. That is going to impact my neighborhood. I'm probably going to be moving on in a few years when I die, and my house will sell for less. That's not particularly fair. Owner consultants refute criticism. Patel, who also owns the Circle 3 gas station in Batavia and Pavilion Farms in Pavilion, and developed the indoor water park at the former Quality Inn Hotel near the Thruway, said the Sunoco station will be a positive addition to the neighborhood. Our store hours are going to be 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. We're not 24-hour stores, and we're using the existing space. We're not adding anything else to the building, he said. When we went to the county and they questioned the traffic, we hired the traffic study company. They say that the minimum impact is going to be on Montclair Avenue. He also said he would ensure that fuel deliveries only took place at low traffic hours, lessening the tanker's effect on traffic. Patel previously told the Daily News that he originally sought to develop a larger station and had offered to buy the adjacent property, a parking lot used by Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram to store used cars, but it was turned down. Project architect Oscar Traynor said Tuesday that existing street design issues are to blame for many of the traffic issues on Montclair Avenue. In Buffalo and other parts of the community where I live, they put in very long speed ramps that control traffic in subdivisions, and they seem to work, he said. His suggestion drew scorn, with one resident interjecting, "That's why I don't live in Buffalo." The problems that you seem to have, which we believe are real, of cars cutting through Montclair, there are other ways for traffic calming to occur on that street that could reduce the problem, long before Chan ever decided to put his building on that corner. Did you ever address the city about what they could do, and did the city ever consider traffic jam calming that could occur in that street to control traffic coming from one part of the city to the other? I think that's something that would help the neighborhood, and it would also deter people from cutting through and also turning left from the new development onto Montclair. Ultimately, board members opted to continue the hearing at the next Planning and Development Committee meeting, which will be held at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, May 19th, in the meeting room of City Hall. The Daily News has filed a Freedom of Information Law request seeking a copy of the traffic study. And from the editorial page of the April 23rd Batavia Daily News, a letter to the editor. Spring arrives on the farm. Spring has sprung in western New York on the maple trees are budded out, and that finishes the maple syrup season for 2026. What we have now is ramp season, that's wild leeks. We have an abundance on our farm. They have been here for generations. They have to be dug, not pulled, and then cleaned. It is a job that happens once a year and brings the word spring into focus for us all. They have a strong onion and garlic taste and smell. Grandpa always told us, if you live through one ramp season, you will live to the next. Everyone in the house should try them because the one who doesn't will smell like ramps no matter what. They can be eaten raw, steamed, or braised by some fire departments. In the southern tier, we have ham and leek dinners for fundraisers and great community functions. They will cleanse your body and definitely give you a new lease on life. Then the next crop will be rhubarb, then our homegrown asparagus. Our plants in the house we started are doing great, and the bees are flying, collecting tree sap, which they use to make propolis, and waiting for the first dandelions to open. So please don't mow your lawns or spray them till the dandelion blossoms are done. Please enjoy this beautiful spring and visit friends and family. Share your knowledge about wild leeks, and please try some, an experience you will have for the lifetime. Thanks for reading. Paul Trowbridge from Corfu. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the April issues of the Batavia Daily News. We read from the Batavia Daily News every Saturday at 9 a.m. Your reader has been Patricia. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the East Aurora Advertiser. At 11 o'clock, we have the Niagara Gazette. And at noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. Radio Reading mails out a large print program schedule to our listeners every other month. If you have not received a Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service large print program schedule in the mail, please call us at 716-821-5555. We will make sure that you receive one every other month. A Braille version of the schedule is also available upon request. Our number again is 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which